Okay, it's driving the left absolutely mad. They cannot stand the fact that Trump is chalking up win after win. There was more phenomenal news on the economy today. Industrial production, most in nearly a year. Who was predicting that a year ago? No one. Of course, more bad hombres being pulled off the street. Great work by a great cabinet. So what do they do? What do the Democrats do? They create fake controversies. And a gold medalist in that event, Stephen Colbert.
You know who is not one of my guests tonight? That's Texas State Representative James Tallarico. He was supposed to be here, but we were told in no uncertain terms by our network's lawyers, who called us directly, that we could not have him on the broadcast.
Okay, so classy. He's attacking CBS on his way out the door after they paid him tens of millions of dollars. Okay. Well, of course, CBS is denying all of this, saying it just gave the show guidance that the interview could trigger an FCC equal time rule. But Colbert is sticking to his story, and accusing the network of caving to so-called bullies in the Trump administration. And chief among them, my next guest, FCC Chairman Brendan Carr.
Sir, you're chairman of the FCC, so FCCU. Let's just call this what it is. Donald Trump's administration wants to silence anyone who says anything bad about Trump on TV because all Trump does is watch TV.
Predictably, his friends in the media turned this into a full-blown authoritarian fever dream.
I think there is an attempt here to silence voices that are critical of the Trump administration.
The first thing authoritarian regimes do is get rid of media, target journalists and comedians and artists that criticize them.
Okay, she's literally saying that on a network criticizing Trump. It makes no sense. Here with me exclusively is FCC Chairman Brendan Carr, the man of the moment. Mr. Chairman, set the record straight. What happened? You're censoring people over there now? You're afraid? You're on the verge of going after CBS?
Well, President Trump has been so far ahead of the curve on so many issues, as you noted, on the economy, on border security, and perhaps nowhere else when he called out the legacy media for being fake news. And yesterday, the American people got to see that on full display. And it's why people have more trust and faith in gas station sushi today than they do in the legacy news media. This was Democrat on Democrat violence. CBS was very clear that Colbert could run the interview that he wanted with that political candidate. They just said you may have to comply with equal time, which would have meant potentially giving airtime to Jasmine Crockett and another candidate. But instead of doing that, they claimed that they were victims. This was all about a political candidate trying to get attention and clicks, and the news media ran with it like lemmings. They just ate it up.
Would you have gone after them for violating the equal time rule, as Colbert said?
What we've said, as we've been very clear, is that broadcasters have a unique right and privilege, a license, and one thing they have to do is comply with the equal time rules. But complying with equal time would have meant
When has that been enforced? When's the last time that's been enforced against the I used to work for CBS many, many years ago.
It's been a while, but complying would mean more airtime for more Democrats to say whatever it is that they want. And the equal time rule at its core is about stopping legacy media from picking winners and losers in elections. It's so that the American people can decide. And perhaps Colbert and other establishment Democrats want to put the thumb on the scale in this Democrat primary for one candidate over the other. I don't know. You'll have to ask them. But we're going to enforce the law and hold broadcasters accountable.
So this actually got Jasmine Crockett, of course, because she's running against Tallarico. She said CBS didn't try to censor this. They just didn't want her on CBS. Now, why do you think CBS or Colbert, wouldn't want Jasmine Crockett on the show?
Well, that's a good question for them, but this is exactly why, if you're going to have one on, you need to make sure that there's equal airtime for all others. And
yes, I'm standing up for Jasmine Crockett. I know that's what everyone's wondering out there. They're all wondering why. Because, you can kind of see what's going on. By the way, to this point, Tallarico raised $2.5 million for his campaign in the first 24 hours after the fake hoax of the censorship. So was this perhaps their plan all along?
Of course. I think this was the plan. It was designed to get clicks. It reminds me of the meme where someone puts a stick in the front spoke of their bicycle wheel, falls to the ground, and claims that they were a victim. He raised a lot of money. He got a lot of clicks. He wanted a leg up on his political opposition in the Democratic primary. And he knew that the legacy media would run with the story. They ate it up. When the facts came out and showed that what he said was false, the FCC did not refuse to air anything. We don't do that. The media just turned around and said, well, it's Trump's fault that we fell for the hoax in the first place. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up.
You are investigating The View, I think, on FCC, perhaps FCC regulatory violations. What's happening there?
Yeah, Disney has a program called The View, and they've been asserting the position that The View is what's known as bona fide news in the statute. And if you're bona fide news, you don't have to give candidates equal airtime. But Disney and The View have not established that that program is, in fact, bona fide news. So we've started an enforcement proceeding taking a look at that. And again, we're going to hold broadcasters accountable. The days that these legacy media broadcasters get to decide what we can say, what we can think, who we can vote for are over. And I think President Trump played a key role in just smashing the facade that they still get to decide the narrative here.
But the narrative is you and Trump are authoritarians for threatening these types of investigations, which makes them change their content. But to the audience watching who's not familiar with what this equal time rule has traditionally always been about, explain.
Yeah, the equal time rule was put in place all the way back in the 1950s by Congress. And again, the idea is you don't want these legacy media gatekeepers picking the candidates that are going to win primaries or general elections. It's about more speech, more information, empowering viewers. Again, step back at what happened during the Biden years at the FCC. That was actually weaponization. That's when they threatened to not revoke the license for a Fox broadcast station because of programming they didn't like on Fox News. Cable, it's when Democrats went after cable companies and pressured them to drop Fox News. That's weaponization. What we're doing now is simply applying the law on the books in an even-handed manner. And for people that benefited from a two-tier system of justice during the Biden years, it may feel like weaponization, but that doesn't make it so.
You're actually fighting for the right of Jasmine Crockett to be heard on CBS. I mean, that's really what the rule would require.
Ironically, that is correct.
Mr. Chairman, you don't look like an authoritarian to me, but, you know, they don't really know what that means. But don't you love it how they're calling Trump authoritarian as they're on television? Like in a true authoritarian regime, you don't get to go on TV criticizing the dictator. That's not how it works.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.